So you are doing some research here.
Yeah, so Cam the intern
Got his own podcast.
got his own podcast, but it looks good.
Looks good. Logos, good
Maybe
graphics.
it sounds good too.
Oh, Cam, hardworking kid.
Cam?
Yeah.
Every day that kid's stock goes up a little
Doesn't
bit.
it?
A little bit.
Ryan, her three on the way. It's good off the backboard and in. Murray, what a take by Tucker. Jones, another steal. Spin on Caldwell, and the layup's good.
I would like to see you hold a mirror up to yourself and interview yourself. As good as this was, it could only be better if it was all you.
Tuning in, I was a fan. I was like, man, let's do it.
Cam, thanks so much for having me on. I'm happy to be here.
Joined today for the first time, Cam Isimone. Gallagher's going to have to shoot it from beyond the arc. And it's good! Jacobs for three. He got it! My goodness, what a shooting performance by Jacobs.
I think Cam's Corner is great.
Tune in to Cam's Corner.
This kid's going to make it. He's going to make it here.
On a break!
All right, we are back, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Cam's Corner. Today, joining me is a rookie in his rookie season overseas playing in Poland, a former UMass Dartmouth Corsair and 1,000-point scorer. Guys, please help me welcome Marcus Azor to the show. Is that how you say your last name? Azor?
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you joining me, man. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I always start off, everyone that watches the show, they know how I start off every episode is asking players where the love for whatever they do stemmed from. So for you, where are you originally from and where does that passion for the sport of basketball come from?
So Brockton born and raised. I want to say ever since I was 3 or 4 years old, even my parents would tell me they knew basketball was just going to be my sport. My brother would play in the driveway and then I'll be 3 feet, 2 feet tall, trying to shoot on the 10-foot rim. And they just knew since from then that I was just going to love the game and I just grew to love it.
Was there any other sports that you played growing up?
I did football in middle school, but it was between playing 1 game a week of football or play 3 games minimum of AAU. So that's when I really chose to play basketball. It was middle school. That's where all my focus went into it.
So did you get to the AAU scene towards high school, or was it more middle school? You started to kind of take it more serious?
It was more middle school because in Brockton we had middle school basketball. Then we'll have travel basketball during the middle school season, and then after those 2 seasons we have AAU. So it was just nonstop basketball. Yeah,
for sure. So what was the high school scene like for you? I mean, before getting to your junior, senior seasons, what was your first few years playing in varsity?
First few years, say I got moved up to varsity my sophomore year, and I only played 30 seconds in a playoff game. And then junior year, that was probably one of the worst worst records I had in the season. I think we were 10-10. I was coming off the bench. It was the coach didn't really trust me, but I knew what I was capable of. And then senior year, that's when we was top 5 in the state. And we won 26-5. Lost right before the conference. No, we lost in the conference championship game, the section championship game.
So did that bring you the most attention for college, everything like that, or?
Yeah, I didn't start getting looks at until my senior year of high school. It was a few local D3 schools, and then the coaches would talk to me, and then they'll find out my major, and then at first, I wanted to do electrical engineering going into school, so some of those schools didn't have it, so I ended up getting cut down to 3 or 2 schools, and then I had to choose. I took visits to UMass Dartmouth ENC in Western New England, and then as soon as I went to Dartmouth, I just knew that I could play there right away, and then I just chose that school.
Yeah, so you chose Dartmouth mainly because you knew you were going to play right out of the gate, and what did you expect for yourself to bring to the team once you committed?
I always knew I was a great playmaker and that my ability to get to the rim was good, but at the college level, it wasn't really. I had to see what I can do. And starting off practices, I think I was 3rd string in the lineups, 3rd or 2nd string in the lineups because we had the veteran guard that came back, and then we had Adam Seablom. He was getting put at the point guard position at first, and then after that first game we played, I think I went 7 for 7, scoring 16 off the bench. After that, I started, and it was just smooth sailing from there.
Right. So I used to go to Rick back in Providence my last year, and I went to a few of your games mainly because one, I wanted to see you guys play too because I covered a lot of the men's games, and I'm sure you're familiar with Kaylin Zalewski from the women's team. She's from my hometown. Mm-hmm. And I used to, go up there, watch a few of her games play it too. And that's how you kind of got on my radar, watching your game and stuff like that. But going back to like when you first came out and you committed to Dartmouth, like you said, like you were in third string, but then right out of the gate, as the games progressed, you started 21 out of the 27 games. Like, did you feel any tension from like those experienced players, like seniors and players like that?
I didn't really feel that much tension because it was either me or Adam, nothing. So it was like we had big shoes to fill in right away. So we just had to keep up with that level of play
And
and
did you
just grow
see
each game.
did you see a big jump from the high school scene to college?
High school to college, I don't want to say freshman year, not really. It was just more getting a feel for it. But after I got the feel for it, figured out like what to do with my schedule, how to do my classes. Now with practice, find me extra time to get in the gym and work. Then sophomore year, like after freshman season, going into sophomore year, that's when the jump started.
Yeah. So like what was one of your first like memories playing college basketball that you can remember that made you step back and be like, wow, like I said, like this isn't high school anymore. This is a college sport and the pace of the game, or it could be like, like you said, scheduling, anything like that.
Um, I want to say freshman year versus Keene. Keene and Eastcon were two tough teams to play, but Keene especially because I was like I take pride in defense, and that was the first time like someone ever scored like 30 on me, and that was Ty Nichols.
Mm.
So I want to say that's when I realized like, yeah, there's actually some hoopers in D3. Like it's not a joke.
Right. And like you were saying, your sophomore year, it didn't seem like a hard transition from your rookie season. Back in the starting lineup, first team All Little East, and then following that year, you guys won the conference in your junior season, which was the COVID pandemic. Of course, you ended up tying your career high, like you said, 30 points versus or 29 points versus Rick. Like I said, which is when you got on my radar when I started to watch your game evolve and stuff like that. So like, what was that season like for you during that time? One, during the pandemic, and again, winning a conference title.
Man, all of us are just happy to play because we was cooped up in the house for like 8, 9 months. And then when they said that they'll allow athletes back on campus, we all agreed. We'll say, yeah, we'll take it, even though it's 10 games. And we get the year back. So we was like, yeah, we'll do it. And then like, yeah, even though we won the championship, people try to say it was a short season. Not every team in the conference played, but we had a good amount of the top teams in the conference playing. I want to say like I don't take that away from us. We still did what we had to do under the conditions that we was facing, having to test 2-3 times a week and then playing those games.
Yeah, for yourself too, only playing 10 games that season, like you said, you still continued that trend of Little East first team. You added on Little East Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, which you had multiple awards in that. Throughout your career, like what would you say your most memorable moment of that season was? And if you had like a hardship that season, if you could describe it too.
Probably that championship game we won. Just knowing that we finally won after losing to Westcon the year before. That's when I knew like we got the team together. It was like we only had 2 seniors that year from my sophomore year when we lost to Westcon, and then the junior year when we won. We had no one leaving really because Jake ended up using his year again, and he was the only senior we had, so we knew we was going to be good.
Right. Was there something like I said, like anything that, you really had to push through to get that ring, or did that season just seem to flow for you guys?
It just seemed to flow for us. The games we lost were just like mistakes, like easy mistakes we made that if we didn't have done them, we would have easily won. But other than that, I wouldn't say that season was typically hard. We was a veteran team going into that season. Most of the other teams were young. Like Keene was a very young team. They got it together, and then they beat us my senior year.
Right. And then next year, the awards for you kept coming in. You surpassed 1,000 points. And like I said, you won multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards in the year previous, winning Player of the Year in the Little East. What do those awards mean to you as a player?
To me as a player, I wouldn't really like take it all for myself. But I always like every time people ask me what do these awards stat mean, is like I'm just doing my job and my teammates are doing their job, just playing well, making shots off of my passes. And then I like just as much as my award is just as much as theirs too.
Yeah, for sure. And that season obviously was your farewell season, your last year playing collegiate basketball. If you could describe like your last official game, like what the emotions were like, and what the outcome of the game was, and what you were feeling after it.
Last game, Sweet 16 versus Randolph Macon. That's probably one of the worst days in my life, but like it didn't really start hitting me until it was like I want to say like 5, 6 minutes left in the game. I see coach getting ready to sub out the starters because we were down like 20. And that's when it really hit me. I was like, this is my last time wearing the jersey. And then like I was almost getting ready to tear up on the court, but I couldn't. I had to hold it in until we at least got to the locker room.
Right.
And that feeling was just the worst. And then going to the All-Star game and then seeing Randolph win the whole thing was like it hurt, but it was like if we went out to any team, at least it was the champions.
Yeah, exactly. And going a little bit like not the career pathway, but like just thinking of like your play style and stuff like that, like your game on the floor. Like what aspects do you feel like come the easiest to you in your game?
I say my ability to get to the rim is the easiest, and then that allows me to hit the open shooters cross court, same side corner. So I want to say like driving and then passing, my two strong attributes.
And maybe not like
rebounding comes third.
yeah, and maybe not like the hardest because like you have like a very all around game, but something that you feel like you have to work on every day to perfect. That's like that doesn't come as easy to you.
It would be like just getting to my spots and then shooting the three ball more. Mostly those two. Playing with Dartmouth, they didn't really want me shooting the three ball more. That's why I didn't take that much. But like the way we was going, we was just winning. My stats were good. Everyone was doing good, so we just kept up with it.
And now that you're at like the professional level, do you feel like you have to change your game in a way because of like maybe like the coaching style or the pace of the game, or do you feel like you can still play your game?
I can definitely still place my game. The coach, before I came out here, the coach said that he was watching me since like October because I'm the first American they brought in, so they wanted to make sure that if they're gonna bring in an American, they want to fit in the system. And then as soon as I said I'll come, I watched a few games of the team. I was like, this team reminds me of playing back at Dartmouth. It's like pieces around me. I can get to the rim. I can dish it out. We have a big man I can dump it down to, someone that can dunk. I felt like it'll be easier. And then I just like playing the pros better because he yells at me to shoot it.
Yeah, I want to definitely ask you more about Poland as well. And like you said, the first American to be in the program, that must have been a crazy like transition for you, being from around here and everything. But like I said, mainly being the best player on the floor like every night for Dartmouth. Did you ever feel any pressure on yourself to always have like an all around good game?
Not really because we just had so much guys. It was like even the days I don't score, I'm probably gonna have a double, triple-double still because everyone else is doing their part. So I never really felt too much pressure on me, unless it was like the championship game and then the tournament games. That was really it.
Right. And working back again, I wanted to question like of your aspect and the play style that you have. Like, was there ever a player that you looked up to growing up that you tried to model your game around?
Growing up we had the Boss Life mixtapes and the Hoop
Right.
mixtapes. I wanna say Dennis Smith. Dennis Smith Jr. was a person
Okay.
that as soon as I seen him, I seen like a little bit of me, even though he was like 2 inches, 3 inches taller, but it was like, yeah, I can dunk just like him. I can do those same type of takeoffs. So it was like during the time in high school, I was like trying to base my game off of him and Jalen Hands.
So before Dennis Smith was even drafted, you were looking at like guys like that on like the Ballers Life mixtapes, and you were more into that.
I try to look at guys closer to my age than try to compare myself to people to the league that I'm not even close to their age yet.
No, that makes sense for sure. And for me, I'm a huge, I'm a diehard Knick fan. Before he was drafted, I think Dallas drafted him. Like I wanted him on New York.
Yeah.
Obviously, he got traded and everything, but he was always been like a great player to watch. And that elevation, you can definitely see that in your game as well, and things that he brings to the table too. But my next question was mainly around like going into games. Like, did you ever have a pregame ritual or anything that you did to prepare yourself for a game?
I just Mac on my headphones, get my playlist. I'll come in. I'll get shots up in the morning before a game. After shots in the morning, I'll do the ice tub, get my body feeling good, and then before the game, I'll come in the gym like an hour, 2 hours earlier, get shots up again, and then I'll just sit in my locker and just get ready, focus in the game.
And that stayed the same since college now to the pros.
Yeah.
And at Dartmouth, you wore number 10. I know you wear number 36 now, but was there ever a meaning behind wearing number 10?
No, I was trying to get my number. Number 12 was my high school number, so I was trying to get that number, but an upperclassman had it for 2 years. And then my junior year, they asked if I wanted to switch, but I was like, I already did my stuff in 10, so I'm gonna just stick with 10.
And now, is there a reason why we're 36, or was it kind of just handed
Oh,
down
I'm
to you?
number 0 now.
Oh, you're 0 now?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you chose that one?
It was between 0, 2, and 3. I was like, I already did 2 and 3, and this is a new chapter in my life, a new beginning. So I chose a whole new number. I had to go with 0.
Nice. And go a little still on the college side, but we were talking about it a little earlier about practices. What was one of the hardest practices you can remember being a part of? And it doesn't have to be at college, I guess. It could be like, now too at the professional level. But if you can think of a practice where, like it was probably one of the hardest you've been a part of, talk a little bit about that.
I say college was probably the harder practices because it was just the days where we had a bad practice. It was just nonstop conditioning. He made us
Yeah.
drop the basketballs, and we had to run for like 30 minutes straight. I don't say it's the hardest part. Now in the pros, it's not as hard because we play 2 games a week. When we scrimmage, we're playing hard so we can prepare for these games now. And it's like we have much more vets on the team, so it's like we don't want their bodies to be too banged up. So we take it easy. We try to go hard for like 45 an hour of practice, and then the rest of the practice is like skill stuff and then 5-on-0 walkthroughs.
Yeah, and before we dig deep into that career now, did you ever have like any NBA players that you interacted with that made you more like motivated to like continue your journey? Maybe like just meeting them like at a game, or maybe like they were at a camp that you were at or something like that along those lines?
Not really. There's a few NBA players I know, but like the number one thing that really stood out to me was Eric Dermers when he got the G League contract. It was like, all right, this guy came from D3. I'm D3. Like, why not? Like, he did it. Why not me?
Yeah, so
But that was really a
maybe
push to go toward. My fault. You good?
no, yeah, you're good. You're good.
No, I was saying that was really the push to like made me want to go towards the pros.
Yeah, no, I like that mindset that you have of following people that are around, like you said, like about Dennis Smith Jr., like watching players that were your age, looking at guys that were D3 that are making it for themselves. So I like that mindset that you have now. Like I said, transitioning now from that summer period to now, coming from the States now in Poland, that jump definitely wasn't something you expected. You definitely had a lot of, G League interest as well. Just explain that summer for me, last summer for me, like, what it was like being in like G League, names, the draft and all that kind of stuff.
That was probably the hardest summer of my basketball career. Is like as soon as my season was done, agents were hitting me up. But I already knew the agent I was gonna go with because he's been keeping in contact with me since like December, January, checking on me after my college games. But after I got my agent, it was like, all right, and now I want to be a pro. Now it's time to really take this serious. First thing I did was got myself a trainer. And then I got myself a trainer on Pierre Sully. He works with most of the NBA and pro guys in the Northeast area. So I want to say like my first week of workouts, it was like him trying to get a feel for my game. I'm thinking, all right, the workouts aren't going to be that bad. It's just conditioning. Got to get better. Then after it was like, he was like, all right, this is what we need to get ready for. Because I had the Boston pre-draft workouts. He was like, so we had to get ready for. This is what we had to do. We had the whole court. It was me, him, and the whole court at Emmanuel College. And then when I tell you, I thought I didn't know how to play basketball after one of those workouts. It was like, damn, it's like I got so much to work on before I can even think about doing these next things. And then doing these G League workouts, it was good for me because it's like I can compete with any of these guys. It was like no tag was held against me. Everyone didn't even care. Like people, like the dudes I was with was asking me if I went D1. Like they didn't notice, they didn't no tag, nothing. But it was definitely hard on the conditioning side, and then playing way more physical and stuff. I wasn't ready for that. And then I'm glad that I had this opportunity to go pro so I can get used to it and then try again next year.
Right. And outside of like the playing aspect, what did this exposure mean to you? Like finally getting your name out on like major platforms. I mean, obviously the G League route didn't work this year, but like you said, you're going to keep continuing to pursue that. But to start off, that jump, that summer came like really, really quick. So like, what did that exposure mean to you?
It meant a lot because it wasn't really much D3 guys even the G League look. I think this year might have been the most we had. It was probably 4 or 5 of us from the All-American team. Like I seen Jack Davison at the Indiana tryout. It was good seeing him. I seen the other Jack at the San Fran workout. It was just like just knowing like where we came from D3, especially like we're not even playing for free. We pay to go to school, we pay to play basketball basically. Just us just sticking with it is just like it was really good to see.
Yeah. So how did you find out, you weren't going to be, taking that G League route, and how did you land on Poland's radar? How did your agent get you in contact, with the staff and everything, and you finally got your feet wet and had some professional experience?
Uh, Funny thing is after the G League stuff, it was just he was looking for teams. There's a couple teams interested, but I didn't like the league. I didn't like the contract. And then it's like I was just working out for like 5, 6 months. I'm getting ready to ask my coach back at Dartmouth if I can do an assistant job. And then like, I'm just still working out. And then I think we're gonna aim for Australia. And that season don't start until February. So it's just nonstop working out. I'm getting tired of working out. Like I just wanted to play at this point. Then my agent called me saying like he has a team in Poland interested. They've been looking at me since October. But like no, they had the full team. They didn't want to make it until they recently just had like 2 injuries of like 2 star players, and then that's when they're like, all right, we need to bring someone in. So they finally made that call. We talked, and then like so like say like they called me today, they were like, all right, can we talk next week about coming? And then we good. I go back, I work out, I tell my trainer, I work out with my trainer. I get a text asking like, "Oh, can we talk tomorrow instead?" I'm like, "Yeah." They called me. It was like, "Yeah, we're gonna need you for this game coming up. How soon can you come?" I was like, "Wow." I was like, probably need like 3, 4 days so I can grab all my things and say bye to the people. And then it was just went so quick.
Yeah. I was just,
I knew I was in Poland.
yeah, that segued perfect into my next question. I mean, like we were talking about earlier about transitioning, I mean, what was your family's initial reaction when you told them you were going to go play for Poland? You had to be there in 3 days.
Oh, they were just all happy for me that I finally got a job. It's something I wanted to do. They're just glad that everything that I worked for just finally came into play. So they were just more happy and stuff, more supportive.
Right. And, what's the adjustment like, living wise, not even just playing, but, coming, to a different country and living on your own?
I wouldn't say it's that bad. It honestly feels like I'm at school. I've always been fine being away from home. I want to say like the hardest thing is probably the language barrier, but after meeting my teammates, it's like most of them played in the top league, so they have more American players in it, so they're used to playing with American players. And then they're telling me in the school systems that they learn English, so they know a good amount to communicate with me. I go to stores, people know English, so it's not as bad. It's just so the hardest thing right now, I want to say, is like going to the grocery stores and seeing what I'm grabbing to buy and stuff. That's probably the hardest thing right now.
Yeah. And on the playing aspect, how have you seen the game change in your eyes, if it has, and like I said, as far as pace and everything like that? We talked about it a little bit earlier about the college, from high school to college, but now at the professional level, how has it changed in your eyes?
It's definitely way more pace, but it's way more physical than I really thought it would because the rules are different. Like when Lucas said that the NBA was late, I see why he said that. It was like I think the first practice we're doing there was a screen and roll, there was a pick and roll, and I'm on the hub side. Like I went to show and I went back to my man. Coach stopped the play. It was like, nah, you gotta bump into the roller and then get back to your man. I was like, I didn't even know I can make that contact. So it was like I can do that. I can hand check people again. And I can push them off. Like I can push them out the way from using screens. It was like I was not ready for that type of contact at first. But the pace part was like as I was working out with my trainer, my pace got better and better when I was working for the G League stuff. So the pace wasn't that bad. I could definitely still slow down here and there, but it's all coming together.
So did your trainer travel with you overseas? Like, is he with you now? And are those training sessions kind of the same as they were like before you like signed with Poland?
No, he's still back at in the areas out there. He's still training his other clients and stuff. But the practices is just like it's really just doing all the little, like the easiest things to get the details down. Really, that's what it really is. So the workouts aren't really that much harder out here. It's like going at your pace that you know you're gonna play in the game with. You know when to slow down and speed up. It's like stuff like that.
Yeah, and you talked about it like previously, just a little brief. Your teammates, like the chemistry, like how was that? I know you said they played with former American players before. I mean, I know you're the only American player that's ever been in this program, but they've played with American guys and stuff like that. So how has that chemistry been? Halfway through the season so far.
It was really. I mean, I came and I wanted to like the first game. I just wanted to see how everyone played, see like to try to fit in the best I can. I want to say like the only thing I was really messing up on was like the rotations on defense and stuff. But I only had like 2 practices before the first game. But like all of them surprised at how fast I picked up the plays, how I picked up on the defense. They're all surprised how quick it was for me to catch up on that. And then it's like I've been there with them for like most of the season. That's how it feels now.
Yeah, go back to like your play. Season starts and you continue that trend from college right out of the gate. You score your second game, you had 10, 3, and 3, and then not too long, your first professional double, scoring 25 and 12. Unfortunately, you guys lost that game, but tell me what your mindset was like through that game and how you felt in your perspective.
So it's like my playing time is limited to a certain extent only because their rule out here is they have to have a 23 or younger Polish player on the court. And the players we have that's 23 and younger is like mostly big. There's 2 bigs and a guard. And it's like our best players are bigs, and then we have a veteran guard core, so it's like hard to try to like get me in there and stuff. But that game I had 25 and 12. One of the veteran guards got fouled out, so stuck with me, played 30 minutes, and then I was just doing what I usually do. Made too many mistakes and we lost, but after seeing like, yeah, I can play like this in the professional level. I know I can get my double doubles, triple doubles still. I was like, I just try to make the most I can out of the minutes I get, make sure the team wins.
Were there any like family members or friends watching back at home that were able to reach out to you after it?
Yeah, there's a lot of everyone. Like as soon as I came out here and I posted the first link, everyone's asking me, oh, how to make an account, how to translate to watch these games. And then it was like so many people I was hoping set up accounts, but I just know like a lot of people is watching stuff. And then after the first few games, I look on my phone, I see how many stories I'm tagged on IG and Snap. I just know that everyone's tuned in still.
Yeah, that's dope. And like you sent me the link. I'll definitely tune into that as well, make an account because I definitely want to see your game, how it's evolved now at the professional level. And for your team, you guys are 6-3 so far in the season. What are you looking forward to like bringing to the table? Like you said, your minutes have to be a little bit limited. I know those rules are tough to adjust to, but what are you looking to achieve in the future with this team?
First thing they said when they brought me in is they're trying to win the whole championship and then make it to the top league. So we both have the same goals, and that's what we're working for right now.
And as far as like I said, more so not on the living side, but playing wise, what's the hardest thing you've had to adjust to at the professional level? I know like the rules, like you were mentioning, and the contact is a little bit more. You can give a little bit more contact, but in your eyes, what's probably like the hardest thing that you've had to adjust to so far?
It was just actually I know having like 20 plays.
Oh, really? The playbook?
Yeah. I have the playbook right here. It's
like
just
school, you got to
so
study it
many
like a pack.
plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say like I'm looking at it, and not all the plays are even in this. There's like 3 sets, so we have like 4 or 5 sets with 5 different options. So it'd be like a 1 up, 1 down, one side twirl. It's just so much, and I was just getting mixed up with the plays, and then he was switching me. This is my first time playing off ball too. So he'll have me play the 2 guards to play with the veteran guard at times. And then I was like, they'll call the play. I'm like, yo, where do I go? Like they're walking me through it in the middle of a game and stuff. It was just funny. So I want to say that was the hardest part. Just getting used to playing 2 different positions and trying to remember those plays.
Are there any guys that like don't speak English that you kind of have, you need someone to kind of like translate what they're saying?
No, everyone speaks English. There's just a few people that would they probably won't understand what I'm saying, and I would have to use Google Translate with them. But for the most part, everyone understands me.
That's good. Yeah, I'm glad everything's been going off to a good start. Marcus, I appreciate you for hopping on the podcast. I wanted to ask you before wrapping up everything. In 5 years, where do you see yourself playing? And if you weren't playing basketball, where do you think you'd be right now?
5 years, I want to be playing in EuroLeague. I think I want to stay in Europe, playing Europe. EuroLeague's one of the top leagues. I have a few friends playing in there, and they all play at beautiful countries, traveling to even better, like more beautiful countries. Like that's what I want to do. That's where I see myself in the next 5 years. Then if I wasn't playing basketball, I'll probably be doing something with entrepreneurship, starting a business or something.
Do you think it'd be like around sports or?
I would definitely be around sports. So I graduated in management information system. So I'll probably try to get on the NBA team and make like those diagrams, graphs of player charts and stuff like that. So I'll definitely stick with being around basketball.
Gotcha. And again, like I said, Marcus, I appreciate you for hopping on. I'm going to try to stay as in tuned as I can with the rest of your season. I'm glad that we were able to connect. And what do you think of Cam's Corner? Who might you want to see in the future as a guest?
Appreciate it. Definitely want to see like stuff like this, how people made that next jump from college to whatever they do after college, because it's not an easy thing. After graduating college, it's like people think they have to get their life figured out, but it's a process. They got time, so like stuff like that I would like to see.
For sure. I'm trying to get some professional guys like, Cole and David. I know they're doing their thing out in LA and Brooklyn. Trying to keep in contact with some guys. I definitely try to want to get Quiddy, like, those big name guys from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with some of them, but this episode will be out on Friday. So tomorrow, I'll let you know when it's out. Hopefully you can share, let everyone back home know, what's going on and everything like that. So again, I appreciate you, and I'll definitely be in contact, man.
Thank you for having me again. Appreciate it.
No problem, Marcus. Thank you.